Revenue Officer for Seva at Home. Seva at Home is an American multinational, and we have been present in India since 2019. We started off as a home healthcare company, giving services at home to patients, with who require care. And so we would send out nurses, care attendants, physiotherapists, nutritionists, and doctors to patients' homes. And sometime in 2020, we forayed into corporate wellness. So we rolled out the home healthcare platform to corporate employees, and then we manage medical rooms in corporates. We run health checkups for corporate employees. We do teleconsultation, and we do a host of other wellness programs for corporates. So we're very happy to have you here with us for a topic that should interest you immensely. Sitting is the new smoking. Um, we have for you here Dr. Divya Sharma. This charming young lady on the screen that you see is a busy physiotherapist. She runs a center called PhysioCentric in Gulmohar Park in Delhi. And she's extremely, extremely busy. So to get her to this meeting was also, but one thing about her, she's very passionate about, reaching out to people, taking care of patients. She's a bachelor's in physical therapy from Manipal Academy of Higher Education. Divya did an internship from Bombay Hospital and Sir Ganga Ram Hospital in Delhi. She went on to do her MPhil in sports biomechanics from Manchester Metropolitan University in the UK. Her career started with her managing post-operative cases and sporting individuals. And she uses manual therapy as a preferred treatment technique. She's extremely proficient in what are known as dry needling, kinesiology taping, and corrective and rehabilitative exercises. With over 15 years of experience in managing sports persons, sports such as tennis, swimming, table tennis, football, golf, even running, including recreational running, and even triathletes. So she's been really taking care of the sporting fraternity. She believes in assessment. Treatment lies in assessment, and she's a proponent of a Mark Twain quote, which says that one must not let schooling interfere with their education. So without further ado, over to you, Dr. Divya Sharma.
Thank you, Atul. Once again, I'm happy to be on this webinar, and hopefully, like the last time, I'm going to get adequate questions from people. We are in new times where work from home is not only, it's become a necessity. And of course, keeping that in mind, this presentation has a few tips for people, very, very basic exercises that one can make a part of their regime, and hopefully try and reduce the stresses on the joints which are mostly affected. I'm happy to be a part of, any presentation that Seva at Home would like me to do. I'll start with the presentation and leave a little bit time for any sort of questionnaires that people might have. So, great. So the topic of today's presentation is sitting is the new smoking. We equate sitting to smoking because it's making people's muscles and the musculoskeletal system dependent on being in a fixed posture, and because it's repetitive, it's as bad as a habit like smoking. So the idea for this workshop is basically, or webinar, is to educate people about what they can do in order to help themselves. Small tips that are some takeaways that you all can take back when you sit on your desk and chair. some very, very simple movements that you can do just to calm your muscular system down and hopefully reduce the chances of injuries. So the first, usually people are spending more than 8 hours a day. And I have often seen people come with complaints about, some achiness in the neck or some feeling of lower back strain. There's an increased load on the postural muscles, obviously, because you're crouched over in front of the computer. And no matter how aware you are about sitting upright, because you're spending more than 6-7 hours on the computer, you do slouch over. The other reason why postural muscles, which are the back and neck muscles, get strained are because physiologically, human beings are not meant to be seated constantly. They are meant to move. And because we've reduced our mobility, the front muscles are anyway overworked, the back muscles are underdeveloped, and therefore they cause increased strain in the postural muscles. So the next few tips that I have in the presentation are basically to help you reduce the load on these postural muscles. Usually the neck and the lower back are affected. If you see some of the prevalences, these are just from data that I looked at. Musculoskeletal disease are one of the biggest health concerns, and people take off from their work week due to these musculoskeletal diseases. So you can see that 13% of prevalence of carpal tunnel. Carpal tunnel is a syndrome that a lot of computer professionals come to me with. They have tingling, numbness in the fingers. They have a little bit of tightness in the forearm muscles. And obviously, it's not a very comfortable feeling to have some sort of a tingling at some stage or the other in your hands. If you can see, neck pain contributes to almost, contributes to almost 46% of a 12-month prevalence. In a 12-month prevalence, the prevalence of neck pain is almost 46%. So basically, if you have 100 employees, at least 46 of them at some stage will have neck pain. 50% of the IT professionals in India report musculoskeletal problems. And we normally categorize these people into a sedentary lifestyle because they are spending more than 6-7 hours on the computer. And you can see from the images that, everybody is having either some neck issue or straightening up to correct their back. Next slide. Yeah. Lower back pain. So in my practice, actually, I see a lot of people with lower back and neck pains. You can see 34% is, of just a small bank, Punjab Bank in, India. They did a survey and 34% of the people had lower back pain. 30 billion of US employees spend, US employees' money is spent on managing back pain. These are just statistics, so they're there in the slide. 261% of the people. So it's hugely prevalent, is what this is trying to tell us, that the stresses on these two joints are quite immense. The next slide talks about sorry, the next slide, yeah. Some of the most common areas we see is that when you know, so ergonomics is an important aspect where we deal with. We tell people who are sitting for more than 8 hours in front of the computer to lift their computer height to eye level so that, the neck is looking straight into a screen and you are not slouching forward to type, etc. So 53% of the people have, so the most common area is the neck and the lower back, which contributes to 53% and 63% in the lower back. The shoulders, yes, obviously get stressed out because you're leaning forward into a computer. And then the fourth most common joint that is affected is the wrist. This is a slide to just show us what happens by looking into a computer screen. So normally, if my 12 pounds is approximately the weight of my head, and that is the amount of stress that these muscles need to take in order to keep me upright. The moment you start slouching a little bit forward, the neck is sitting a bit forward, your neck is leaning forward, the weight of the head increases by about threefold. And that obviously puts increased stress on the muscles that require you to remain upright in upright posture. If it goes even further, the weight of the head further increases, and therefore the work done on all these muscles increases even more. So the idea is to understand not only what we are doing to our muscular system, but also to understand how we can correct this to be better for a long term. So I usually give an example that a lot of people ask that we don't know, or we don't come to know that our head is sitting forward. The best way to know that is roll your shoulder blades back and allow your shoulders to drop, and then you should feel that the earlobes are in line with the tip of your shoulder blade. If that be the case, then your neck is in good alignment. So this slide only shows about what happens when the neck is sitting forward and you develop something called as a forward head posture. These imbalances were developed by a very famous scientist, Valdemar Janda. He came out with two syndromes, which he commonly named as upper cross syndrome and lower cross syndrome. In this, what happens is that because the neck is sitting forward, the front chain of the muscles becomes stiff and overworked. And the back muscles, which are supposed to maintain upright posture, they become weak and overused. So a lot of people come and say, oh my God, I have big knots in these muscles. What are these knots? This is an overworked muscle. In this same syndrome, you see the chest muscles again becoming tight. So it brings your shoulders forward. You develop a slouchy forward neck posture. And obviously, a lot of the exercises that are given further in the presentation talk about how to counteract this, upper cross syndrome. Now, ergonomics is a study which we basically all over the world, people say, oh, sit on an ergonomically designed chair, get an ergonomically designed workstation. Now, what is ergonomics? So ergonomics is practicing how, modifying your workspace in a way to eliminate any chances of discomfort and injury due to the work. See, computers are not going to go out of fashion. They are going to become more and more, we are going to be more dependent on them. So how do we, or what do we do in order to reduce the load on the joints? Intermittently, get out of the posture you've been sitting for long in, lean back onto a chair, get your back a little bit comfortable, maybe, do some deep breathing while you're sitting on the chair to improve your efficiency. And simple changes, you don't have to have very dramatic changes that, I'm constructing a new desk, and obviously do some go-to exercises while you're sitting on the desk. Nowadays, a lot of people are also switching to standing desks. So they do a combination of a sitting desk as well as a standing desk. Now, this presentation gives quite a lot of clarity for people, is that the head, if you can see, is looking directly into the screen. If it's more than 20 degrees bent, then again, you're increasing the load on your postural muscles. Also, you can see the elbows are not overbent, because if they are overbent, then you automatically shrug your shoulders and that increases the load on the upper trapezius. You can see this gentleman is sitting with more or less an upright posture. His back has been rested against the rest of his chair. His feet are well supported on the ground. If you feel that you're fairly short and you do want to, you can place a small wedge under the feet. That also reduces the pressure on the lower back pain, on the lower back. So if you can see, his chair height is about 16 inches off the ground. His table height is about 75 centimeters. So usually these are the ergonomic, we give people suggestions to make their tables and desks and chairs like this, so that the elbows are not too overbent, your neck is not leaning forward, and you have the space to lean back onto a comfortable chair. If you opt for a standing desk, again, I mean, in this picture, the person doesn't look like he's in very good posture, but basically the idea is to again have a small ledge under your foot so that you can alternatively bend one knee, keep it there. You have a small amount, a small footrest to allow some foot clearance. Your knees also can reduce the pressure because intermittently you can bend one knee at a time. Also, the wrist should be well supported on it's called a mouse pad. So it can be supported so that the chances or the pressure on the wrists are reduced. Next slide. So I have listed down a couple of exercises which are fairly simple. The first exercise I really propagate everybody who sits on a desk and chair to do. It's basically it's a correction of the forward neck posture by just tucking your chin back in. So all you need to do is place two fingers. Even if you don't place two fingers, just try and push your chin back so that you're able to bring your earlobes in line with the tip of your shoulders. This is a great exercise to reset and strengthen those weakened muscles in the front of the neck. And then intermittently, while you're sitting on the desk and chair, you can look right, you can look left, you can look forward, you can look back, just so that you can improve the circulation in the muscles of the neck. This is a stretch we commonly give, to people who are coming and saying that, I do get a lot of stress or strain or stiffness in this muscle. Then all you need to do is keep your hand under your buttock, drop your neck to one side and give a mild overpressure on the side. Shoulder blade squeeze is again a very good exercise where you can intermittently, and these are simple exercises that can be done on the desk. You don't have to really get up to do them. The last exercise is a demonstration of a wall angel. So you just stick back. Again, it helps to realign the body into good posture. So you stick your heels against the wall, stand with your hands rested flat against the wall, raise your hands and bring them down. And these are just some simple things for the neck and shoulder that you can do on the go. Next slide. Upper back exercises. So, like I said, the joints, so these are just basic exercises for the three most common joints that are affected due to sitting for a long time. In this is just cross your hands in front of your chest, lean your back forward. So you're basically stretching the upper back and coming back. So you lean forward, you rotate from your chest side to side, you lean back, and then you find any corner of the wall or a doorway and lean your body forward so that you can stretch out the muscle. This relates back to that upper cross syndrome where we said this becomes tight, this becomes tight. So basically the aim of all these exercises is to open up those tight muscles. So the doorway stretch is a great way to open up that chest, which is feeling tight because you've been slouching over the computer for long hours. Some exercises for the lower back, I usually recommend people because people are now making conscious efforts to get up intermittently from the desk and chair. I normally recommend not to sit for more than 40 minutes. Even people now abroad are allowing, even in conferences, for people to stand up and, maybe wiggle their toes or keep your hands on your back and lean backwards, bend forward. Obviously, the last 4 exercises on this slide are something which you can do at home. The third one is done on a mat, which is a simple bend your knees, drop your legs side to side. The next exercise is called a hip bridge, which I give to almost everybody who comes with any lower back, basic strains. It's you squeeze your buttocks and you lift your hips up. The next exercise, so these are all common exercises, is a cat and camel, where you flex your spine and you extend your spine in both extreme positions in order to maintain the fluidity in the spine. The last exercise is a simple pulling your knee to your chest. These are a list of some of the tips that I give to office, the healthcare, professionals for keeping good health. Immediate is obviously increase the resolution and the font of your monitor, your phone screen, so that you're not like, looking for fine, font and aiming into that so that your muscles are stiff easily. Check the position of your chair. Like I said, the chair should be a certain height from the ground. Your feet must be well supported on the ground. Monitor should always be kept at eye level. In case you work on a laptop, you can get a few books and keep your laptop on a chair on those books so that the laptop becomes at eye level. Alternatively, nowadays, these stands are available on which you can rest your laptop so that the screen becomes at eye level. Again, the mouse, if you're using one of the wireless mouses, keep them, at a place where the hand is not shrugged, the elbow is not overbent, and you're not reaching out very widely to connect to the mouse, because that all increases the stresses on the joints. Every 30 minutes, take a break, stretch out. Sorry, the previous presentation, yeah. So long-term solution is, do not ignore any musculoskeletal issues that happen because of overuse, because the common saying is a stitch in time saves 9. If you come and if you feel that you are developing some tightness in the neck muscles or lower back muscles, go meet a healthcare professional, meet a physical therapist who can maybe guide you through simple exercises to help you to ease those up. I'm a manual therapist, so I believe in doing a lot of like manual opening up of the tight muscles. I give people, I use dry needling. I use tools to release the muscles which have been overworked. So if any neck or lower back pain persists for more than 3 days or 5 days, you've tried, every trick in the book, you've done a hot compress, you've done a cold compress, but you still feel that the muscles are not easing up, it's best to go to a healthcare professional, get it checked out, because you may be in early stages of developing a bad posture, and just recognizing what you can do in very simple terms helps you to not develop that bad posture and increase the load on these joints and cause arthritis. So we find a lot of youngsters coming with degenerative arthritis, cervical spondylosis. These are common terms that people come and say, oh, I'm just 25. How can I get cervical spondylosis? Yes, if you ignore, your muscles have been screaming for you to give them attention and you ignore them, you can develop early degeneration in the spine. Of course, maintaining a healthy diet always helps. So this is as basic as I can make it. I think I will leave the open to some questions. Maybe we can
Right, so you can put your questions in the chat box or in the Q&A box, and we'll ask Dr. Divya to address those
yes, if there are
concerns
any
that you have.
questions.
Yeah.
Can you give me 1 minute? I'll just, sorry, I
Sure.
need to get up. Yeah.
Yeah, so do that. So you have your first question, Divya.
Yeah.
Are there any specifics that you would like to give to somebody who's suffering from spondylosis?
Is it cervical or is it lumbar spondylosis?
So Rajesh, is it cervical or is it lumbar?
See, both of the joints, like I said, that they are the best thing to do is the chin tuck exercise. I always recommend that, where you can do, if that is for the lower, for the neck. If for the lumbar spine, if your lumbar spine or the lower back is affected, then core strengthening is the key to reduce stresses on the lower back. The deep core muscle, just exhale, breathe in and tighten your deep stomach muscles. It's as simple as that. And you can again do that sitting on a desk and chair. So specific, there are usually not very, I can't make it very specific because obviously it depends on what assessment we do, whether you are in active pain or not. If you're not in active pain, then obviously strengthen the postural muscles. Like I said, the deep neck muscles, the front muscles of the deep abdominal muscles, and that would help you in both of the cervical and the lumbar spondylosis.
Doctor, what is the best position of sleeping for lumbar disc herniation?
Yes. So I do not recommend people to sleep on their tummies. I've always found that the pressure on the lower back increases when people are sleeping on their stomach. The best position, or the position with the least stress for somebody who already has a herniated disc, is of course on their back with a small pillow under the knee so that the knees are bent. So what happens is, the moment the knees are bent, then automatically the back flattens and the muscles of the lower back, which are overworked because of that disc herniation, they ease up. So the best way is to sleep on the back. If you, a lot of people come and say, no, doc, if you tell me to sleep on the back, I cannot. Then obviously I recommend them to turn onto their side, have a pillow supporting their neck, have a pillow between your knees. That always helps to reduce the pressure on the back.
So I've developed knee pain, says this person, and it says any specific medicine for that? Also, if there's any specific exercise.
Okay, so yes, knee pain usually happens because there is a weakness of the quadriceps muscle. So you can maybe log in online and look for the easiest exercises. Usually I recommend isometrics, where you just straighten up your leg and you clench your thigh muscles and relax. And if you can do that maybe 100 times a day, if you're a young individual, then you should find a fair bit of relief in the knee pain. Obviously, like I said, any pain that persists for more than 3 to 5 days and is not going away with your home remedies must be looked at, because your knee pain will cause your hip muscles to become weak, and hip muscle weakness will cause your abdominals to become weak, and you'll come back to the physical therapist with a back pain while the problem started with your knee. So because every joint in the body is interrelated, it's always better to get it assessed. Uh, it could be that the knee pains developed because your hip muscle was weak. So the solution may be as simple as strengthening your hip muscles. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, any hip joint problems due to sitting for long hours? What is the remedy?
Uh,
Hip joint
any
problems.
hip joint. Yes. So I normally find that people who sit in very deep, low sofas usually come with early degeneration in the hip joint. The most important muscle that controls the hip joint is your buttock muscle. So the simplest exercise is to just lie down and clench your butt cheeks together and relax. And again, I find that exercise fairly effective in reducing the stress on the hip joint. Obviously, ergonomics, like I said, designing a good chair, sitting with your hips not bent too deep into flexion, always helps to reduce the pressure on the joint.
All right. So there's a question which says most of the time now teachers are on phone due to hybrid teaching. So what posture should be there? I think you more or less explained that in your presentation. Would you like to say
Yes,
something?
but I will reiterate that some of the things I'm finding, like some of the common tips that I'm giving a lot of people who are coming, is please do not hold the phone between your head and neck. That is the worst you can do, for your joint. Uh, One other thing is get a good pair of headphones, which sit well. They can be wired, wireless, whatever is comfortable for you. Keep your hands more or less free so that you can continue to demonstrate or use the computer if need be. Um, the other common things are intermittently shrug your shoulders, pull your shoulder blades back. The wall angel is a great exercise. And because it's not only the teachers, the students are also in a hybrid model. So if the teacher gets up after a 30-minute session and just does these three things on the screen and encourages the students also to do it, it's going to be effective. So the
Yeah.
good part would be that we train you and you train and go out and spread the same thing to the rest of the people who are sitting for such long hours.
Yeah. This gentleman wants to know whether the break that you recommended for 40 minutes, does it vary from person to person, or is it okay? 40 minutes is fine for everybody.
Uh, this is a ball. Obviously, it's a the most ideal time in which you can get up. Obviously, if you're super engrossed and you're unable to get up 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes, but I would not recommend anybody sitting for more than 2, 3 hours at a stretch. It's not good for the joints.
Mhm. I'm feeling that both legs muscles are very stiff in daytime. I feel comfortable, but at night it gives me pain. Can any exercise help me?
So usually I have found that night pain is due to a sodium chloride imbalance. A lot of the times the body develops cramps and stiffnesses. So it may be worthwhile, please check your hydration first. Secondly, you may benefit from just, doing some basic stretches when you come home at the end of the day. Like I said, just lie down on the bed, pull one knee up to your chest, pull the other knee up to your chest, then pull both the knees up to your chest, then drop legs side to side. These are the most common, simplest, stretches you can do for your back. So hydration, do simple stretches at the end of the day before going to bed. And thirdly is, please do check sodium chloride levels. You can have maybe rock salt wala nimbu pani for a few days and see whether that helps to reduce the stiffness in the muscles. Foam rolling is also a good technique that one can do. You get these roller kind of things which are available in the market. You can order them from Amazon. It's a self-massage tool where you can just, lie on the muscle and massage the muscle in case you feel very, very stiff.
I occasionally develop tremors in my right hand after working for a long time on the computer. Please suggest some exercises.
No, tremors. If you're feeling like a shivering of the hand, it could be like I said, that it could be fatigue of the forearm muscles. The home remedy best would be, stretch out the wrist joint at the end of the day. With your thumb only, massage the forearm muscles. And if this does not resolve it and you're actually getting tremors, it must be seen by a proper, either a neurological doctor or an orthopedist, because you should not develop tremors after working, unless of course the forearm muscle is very stiff. So like I said, don't panic. Just for a few days, do wrist stretches, relax the forearm. If you feel better, then it was nothing. It was just muscular.
What exercises would you recommend for cervical pain?
Again, the same chin tucks. Normally I give, if you can write down, chin tucks, shoulder shrugs, shoulder blade pull back, and the corner of the wall stretch. These are the most most basic and most common exercises that I give people.
Could you share some exercise to correct one's posture and strangler muscles? I think that was taken up in the presentation. Anjana.
Yes, so the exercises are there in this presentation. Another quick tip I can give people is that when, I'll have to demonstrate it. So I will stand up. When you look at yourself, from the side, if the back is overarched, if your shoulders are rounded, these are all poor postures. So the best way to get yourself to be more upright is to pull your belly in a little bit, roll your shoulders, drop them down, and get your neck in an alignment. And automatically when you do that, you will feel that the pressure on all the joints has lessened. So intermittently, like I said, get up, roll your shoulders and drop them down. Think about the body as two buckets. The ribs and the pelvis are like two buckets, and they should be evenly lying on top of each other. So if you just practice these simple things, this in itself activates the right postural muscles.
Occasionally, I get lower back, abdominal severe pain. Oil massage, I've tried and it did improve, but how to keep safe?
Again, safety of the back is exactly like I said in this presentation. Get a good chair, get up intermittently, do some abdominal strengthening exercises, and that I think should help you a fair bit.
Does prolonged sipping have a role in pain in the tailbone? And if yes, what can be done to prevent and treat that pain?
Yes, tailbone is affected by prolonged sitting. One thing I recommend is for people who are getting, you must invest in a good coccyx pillow. It's called a coccyx pillow. And it's basically like a tube. If you sit on a tube, your tailbone is suspended in air and that reduces the pressure on the tailbone. You are probably getting tailbone pain because you are sitting by rolling your hips forward and there's too much pressure on the lower back. So the recommendation again in this would be to try and roll your hips in such a way that you are sitting on the buttocks, which are the sit bones. There are two bones in your hip called your sit bones. So if you evenly sit on the hip bones, the pressure will not be there on your tailbone. So invest in a coccyx pillow and roll your hips in a way so that the pressure is relieved from the tailbone.
What is the ideal size of a pillow? My neck length is little more, and sometimes I feel headache during morning.
Ideal size of a pillow, I normally recommend a pillow that should support the neck as well as the top of your shoulders. So if you have a long neck, I mean, inch-wise, I can't give you a recommendation, but usually if you take a towel, you roll it up. A rolled towel is the right height for a pillow, no matter how long or short your neck is, because that supports the natural curve of your neck. The headaches are because maybe your neck is too forward when you're sleeping. So then again, all these muscles become tight and they cause headaches.
What should be the right sleeping position in general for neck pain, with or without pillow?
No,
On the back and sidewise.
Definitely with a pillow. I always recommend using a pillow, and on your back is better. But like I said, some people find it difficult to sleep on their back. So they are okay sideways, but it should be the curve of your neck must be supported.
Can disc herniation heal on its own with physical therapy?
So no, if there is a herniated disc, it will not go back in with physical therapy. Usually over time, you strengthen the postural muscles and that reduces the load on that disc. And the herniated part shrivels up, becomes into scar tissue and stops irritating the nerve. So symptomatically, yes, you will be much better. But if you go and do an MRI and there was a disc herniation at time X and you've done some amount of physical therapy, the herniation will still persist.
Any specific exercise for anyone who has undergone an emergency LSCS 2 years and feel stressed in the lower back region while sitting?
Yes, like I said, deep abdominal strengthening is the best exercise you can do to keep your lower back from getting strained. So it's as simple as exhale and draw your navel to your spine. So it's that deep abdominal muscle that needs to be strengthened.
Any recommendation on cycling? Will that improve muscle spasm?
No, muscle spasm is a protective spasm that the body has gone into a spasm to prevent you from doing an action. So no, muscle relaxants, tissue treatments and stuff like that help muscle spasms, not cycling. But yes, stiffness can be reduced by cycling, but not spasms.
Right. I feel numbness in my hands, especially when I get up in the morning. What must be the reason?
Yeah, the reason is that your neck has remained in not a very good posture while you've slept, and the nerve that supplies the arm has got compressed. So the moment you'll get out of that posture, the numbness and the tingling will go away. This is again commonly seen, can be resolved by buying a good cervical, a good pillow that supports your neck, sleeping on your back, as well as not, being in very bent postures, which would aggravate the nerve.
Does calf raise help strengthening muscles?
Yes, absolutely. It helps to strengthen your calf muscle.
I've experienced extreme knee joint pains along with joint sounds. Does regular exercise relieve this?
Yes, definitely. Joint sounds are usually, I think there was another question that somebody had posted about popping joints. So a lot of the times, sorry, I will read this. Yes. So yes, what knee joint pain with sounds, yes, regular exercises will help to relieve the knee joint pain. Definitely the sounds are caused because one bone is rubbing over the other and there is some degeneration happening. So I would say that maybe you can take a supplement. Yeah, maybe you can take a supplement like a cartigen supplement rather than, uh, for the sounds that your joint makes. Body weight,
Body
calf
calf raise
raises,
is
yes,
same. I think you answered that. Yeah.
those are
So,
adequate.
yeah. Which sports do you refer as a holistic one?
Okay, the most even sport nowadays is running because it doesn't, I mean, it requires both the right and left to work equally for efficient running. So if you feel that is a sport, yes, running or swimming are both very good sports.
Do you recommend to walk after hours of sitting or just lie down properly for 10 minutes?
No, a walk is always good because that brings the circulation to all the joints.
Right. Are there any equipments to help correct posture?
Yes, easily available. It's called a posture correction belt. It's got two straps in front, and people who forget to, straighten themselves up, it has a band which comes under your chest, and you strap yourself up, and that pulls your shoulder blades back. It's fairly good for people to reawaken the muscles, but it's not a substitute for postural strengthening exercises. You can wear the belt by all means to reduce the pressure on the joints, but it should not become a substitute that, oh, I'm wearing a belt, now my posture will correct.
It would be great if Shiva at home can post some relaxation videos on their page. Yeah, sure, we will do that, Vivek. Namita Sharma. I'm 42 and feel pain in the knees without whilst using stairs.
Yeah, you are definitely then developing some sort of degeneration and it should be looked at by a physical therapist. Maybe the thigh muscle has become a bit stiff and you just need some strengthening exercises that will help the pressure on the knees.
How effective is cupping therapy?
Uh, Effective if you have muscle tightness. If not, then not. It'll depend on what you're using it for. If it's just as a routine, you've done a run and you found that your muscles are feeling a bit stiff, then yes, you can put these vacuum cups. They help in improving circulation.
My father is 72 years old. Recently, we observed that there is swelling in his feet. We did all the blood tests and reports were normal.
It could be gravitational edema. If his heart is functioning fine, then maybe he's just sitting for very long hours, keeping his legs hanging. Maybe you can try and elevate his legs, keep a few pillows so that the foot end is above the heart and see if the swelling eases up. Encourage him to do simple exercises like ankle toe pumps, where you just pull your ankles up and down, and that should help the swelling to go down.
This one wants to know the pillow position with neck while sleeping on back. I think you could
To elaborate is, like I said, that the neck should be well supported. So the best example I can give is take a towel, roll it up, keep it under the small of your back and lie back on it. so that the curve of your neck is resting on a pillow rather than, it being too forward or too pushed forward.
Mhm. Please tell us about the exercise for eyes.
For eyes, yes, the simple look at a target, move your hands up and down, move your eyes. Those, somebody had once recommended this, that you can draw a dot. It's a, you draw a dot on your wall somewhere and you stick it and you stare at it for a few seconds, and all that increases your concentration and it's also good exercise for the eyes.
Can ACL be corrected by exercise?
No. So if you have an ACL tear, then the ACL will again not repair spontaneously. Like I said, you will have to do some physical therapy to strengthen the muscles of the knee joint, the hip joint, and some balance training, and that will help. So again, ACL, the goal is your goal is very important. If you want to return to a high level of sport, running sport, then obviously consider a surgery. But if your goal is only running, I have a triathlete who's running full marathons and he has no ACL. So yes, you cannot refix the ACL, but you can strengthen the muscles to be completely independent and do everything that you need to do.
I recently slipped in my room and my stones hit to the floor. Though there is no major problem, but I often feel pain in center of stones while sit for more time. I don't understand the question. Okay. My joint knocks a lot. How do I reduce it? Okay, I think we do answer that more or less. Will
Yes,
prolapsed
again,
disc cause pain?
pardon?
Will prolapsed disc cause pain?
Yes,
What
of course.
can be done?
If the disc is compressing on the nerve root, definitely it will give you pain. If it's not compressing on the nerve root, then it will not give you pain. What can be done is, in a disc lesion, it's not the scope of this workshop to help you through a disc problem. So best is, please go, get yourself assessed by a physical therapist, let them direct your exercises.
Okay. All right, fine. I think I don't think there are any more questions. That's been very interesting, Dr. Divya. Thank you so much. And these are very practical tips. I'm sure people would have really benefited from them. So, audience, we at Seva at Home are now, have launched a product called Seva Prime, which is making quite a buzz in the industry. Why? Because with a small subscription for a family of 6, for the entire year, you could get unlimited teleconsultations with doctors 24/7, with nutritionists, with the physiotherapists, with the specialists, and of course, with specialists will be by appointment, but unlimited. Check it out on the website, and I would recommend that you could pick that up for your family. It's a really good offer. So thank you so much for being with us this afternoon, morning for many people, I'm sure. So thank you, Dr. Divya. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and some of these tips that you give, I think, are very, very practical. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.